Hello everyone, this is the final version of the magic quantity stacking Speedfarmer build that I made. This is the same build that I showcased in my very first video. This is a light shield stacker that is using arrow shot to speed farm everything. The way this video will go is first I will show you a showcase with the Nether and the boss there. Then I will show a forge run to about like 4 free waves. Then a showcase about the temple, and then I will do a minor spoiler on Ohm. I will fight it. If you want, you can skip that part. There will be timestamps down where you can skip this. After this, I will show the crafting guide, how you craft gear here, and how you can craft a gear from 0 reforged to 15 without ever leaving the shop. And then there will be a discussion about the stats that you need to take care of, and then I will explain how the build works and the gear I'm using it with it again. So let's get on with the showcase. We go to the Nether and we select the boss that we want to run. Ideally you want to have 200 Nether charge, but I will just showcase that you can fight whatever boss in whatever map you want. This, I think, is considered one of the harder bosses, I think, because of the ground effects that it has, but you will see that we have no problem with it. So let's get started. As you can see, we don't really encounter any mobs on our actual farming. We just pick up the items because we have so much attack speed and so much projectile speed that we off-screen everything that comes across. So the only thing that you will be encountering are ground effects and mobs that spawn next to you, and they usually just turn into instantly just on death effects. As you can see, you don't even see the animations most of the time that they do. As I said, this is a quantity-fine focused build, which means that wherever we can, we put on magic item quantity. I think it's strictly better than quality, simply because with Nether farming you want to be focusing on getting as much pure stats that you want. This is the main thing that you want to farm the end game. This is the actual thing that has value that you need to get a lot of to be able to craft your other gears. And for that to happen, you want most of your pure stats to be on your base or on your defense or maybe on your magic placement. And sometimes you will use rare for it, and almost never you will use your epic stats for pure stats. What this means is that you want to get as much item quantity as you can, because you don't care about it if they are white or green or red or blue. I don't know why I said red. So quality would increase and would make it that you find more legendary and more epic gear, but that wouldn't increase the amount of pure stats that you actually want to use on the map. So if you put around 200 quality on it, I think you would be strictly worse than if you are putting 200 quality on it, quantity on it. So as you can see, running through the map, again, there is literally nothing that can kill us or hurt us. So that's why I'm able to be talking freely, because the only thing I need to concentrate is to go through the doors and not to be stuck on the fences that come across, and that's pretty much the end of it. And now we will go to the final boss. Well, not the final boss, but the Nether boss here. you can put down your light seal to collect all the orbs at once. This will shoot you up even over 1 million, so you will have even more damage. And this was the boss fight. You can reroll this for another item. Take one of them. And there you go. Okay, so next I will show you the forge farming. 4 forge, maximum forge level, we go in. And this is the point where I want to talk about the beta experimental build that everyone can download for themselves on Steam. And I suggest everyone to do so because the quality of life increases, such as this button here, are so great that I think it's worth having it. I don't see really any downside having this patch on you already, and the quality of life you get out of it is enormous. As you can see, with this button we no longer need to spam next wave every time this lights up, so you can literally just go and watch videos, and whenever these 3 cards pops up you just choose one and you stay in one place. You don't need to move around. Again, nothing will kill you, so nothing to worry about. You can choose whatever you actually want from this. And this is how you go through the forge until 100. I actually don't use this gear and this build for forge farming because I have my mage that is an ice bolt mage, and what I do with it is I put down 3 of my clones next to the doors, so one here, and one here, and I will just stay next to here, and without doing anything, I don't even attack, I don't move, I just watch videos and click on the next wave whenever I can. I just choose the next card, and that's how I farm the forge and get the items I need from it, because the only downside with this build is that you need to hold down the attack button, and I wanted to avoid that. So this will be the last wave I will show. As a side note, for forge farming, you always want to get the card first that will give you 2 more wave of every of the next things that you are getting. That's a entire forge cost. That will be the duration of the entire forge, and that means you will have more and more of these debuffs on you, and I think those contribute to get you higher valued items. So I'm pretty sure you want to stack as much debuff on you as you can to get higher rewards, and for that these +2 levels for each of these will help you tremendously. And then you take one of these, and okay, this will be the last wave then, and we will leave the forge after this. Okay, so where is the last one? Okay, done. So forge is done, and here's the Slorm Temple that you also need to farm sometimes. The Slorm Temple is also very easy on this build, as you can see. I found a Pierce that I will go back for. And all you need to do is, you don't even need to have your map on, you just need to follow this line, and wherever it lights up, that's where you go. So if it goes up, then you go up. And the reason why I'm not using again this build for temple farming is because in the temple the density of the mobs are too low. So as you can see, sometimes it takes a few shots to actually hit the mobs with my arrows. See? They die immediately when you hit them, but it's just simply that the chance that you hit them are not 100% because the density is too low. So that's why I'm using my auto bomber for this, because with the auto bomber I don't need to attack again, and all I need to do is just walk in it here, and the range is good enough that everything here would be instantly dead. So I think it's better for temple farming, but this build can also do it. So again, if you have this build, you can do whatever you want, as you can see. We farmed out a pure Slorm, and now we just leave. Okay, so the last of the showcase will be a spoiler. So if you don't want to watch this spoiler, I will put down the timestamps and you can skip this one. This is the final home fight, and I just show you that even the final boss that has a mechanic that is very dangerous for most build, even he cannot touch you, so even there you will have 0% chance to die. You just start hitting it, and as it's hard to tell on this build, but Own's mechanic is that whenever there is this phase transition that you can see here, then he will take your HP and your shield down to 1, and that's a very dangerous situation, because then whatever attacks he will instantly spawn on you will be able to kill you. Except that's not true for us, because we already have 1 HP, so that's not an issue. And the way how our light shield defense is working is that he will never be able to do damage more than 1/3 of our health, or in this case shield. So even if we have 100 shield, the maximum he will be able to do is 30, and we have so much lifesteal that we would instantly heal it back up. So there is no scenario where he can actually do lethal damage to us. So we go home. At the end of this video I will explain again the build and the gear. I already did in my first video, so you can watch it if you want, but in the end I will again explain it here. Now before I do that, I want to show you the crafting guide that I want to showcase of how you can upgrade your items to without being able to wear them at 0 level. So you want to increase the reinforcement on this to 15, and usually that means that you need to kill mobs with this to get the potential up to 100%. But you can actually skip this part, and I will show you how. But first I will just put on some pure stats on here. So where did I put it? Here. So first pure stat, second pure stat, which is defense, third pure stat, evasion. Good. Okay, so we have this item, and this is the item that has the stats that you want, let's say, and you want to have this at level 50 or level 20, it doesn't matter. First you want to level it up to the maximum level. As you can see, this is 101. Instead of here, you go to down to the very bottom here in the crafting part, and you just level it up to the max level. Okay, we have it on the max level, and it already has everything that it can possibly be uncrafted. So it has the stats for tumble, savagery, the affinity, it has legendary, it has epic stats, it has pure stats. So this is as much thing as you can on this one. This will be important later. And now, as you can see, this starts from 0. So usually for 0, you put this here, and as you can see, it's already highlighted. But then you have 0 chance to succeed. So what do you do? Well, if you put down the tier 4 instead, so it's 4 higher than 0, then you will have 100% chance to succeed, even if you have 0 potential. So let's use that one. And we go through with this. Now we are at tier 5 and we would want to use the tier 9, but this is the phase where we no longer want to go with this method anymore, we want to change it. So we want to add potential for the next craft. And we can do that by spamming 29 of this Slormancer of aptitude. So if we have 29 of this will have 100% chance to crit, and the critical will give us 102% potential for the next craft. So if I use this, as you can see, now it has 100% potential, almost as if we farmed out in a map this potential. So we can skip this potential farming thing with this. And with the experimental build, if you hold down shift, you can add 10 of this. If you hold down alt, you can add 100. So this makes this way faster. You just add 29. And you add the tier 6. Craft it. Again. Craft it. And we are at tier 9. This is where we want to again change tactic, because we want to use less and less material and use other materials for our crafting. So we still put in the tier 9 and we still put here 29, but now we want to double our reinforce and we want to make sure that it happens. So we put 20 here from the virtue one. As you can see, now we have 100% chance for double craft, and we will still maintain the potential for the next craft. If for some reason you happen to have less potential because something was not going well, you can still increase your potential with your Slormancer. I suggest using either rare or epic for this. The rare one will cost you a lot more money, as you will be able to see, because you would need to put like 50 of this. And as you can see, it will be more than 1 million to craft this. You can instead use just 4 of this, because this gives like 15 or 4 or 5. And you can see this is way cheaper gold-wise, but this is a much rarer material. So you need to decide, do you value your epic Slormancer more or your money more? Because this you will always have plenty of. This is a decision that you have to make. Do you value 1 million gold more or 5 of this epic Slormancer more? Okay, for this craft, we want 20 and 29 of this. And then we need to make sure that this succeeds. So we don't want this failure chance. And we can use harmony for this. So we start adding harmony, and at 60, now as you can see, it has 100% chance to succeed. So we craft it, and now it's at 11. And you would think that, oh yeah, now this will get really costly and I don't have the materials for it. But you can always use just lower level of materials. You will simply need to put more harmony in. So for my tier 13 craft, what I will do is put in again a tier 9. As you can see, I have 0 chance to succeed, but that's not an issue. I put in my 29 here again anyway. I will put in 20 of this to have the double. And now I will start to add the harmony. It's just that you need to add a lot more. So here is 100. And I will need to add 160. And now I have 100% chance to succeed. And the gold cost is still very, very low, as you can tell. This means that in the end game, the two materials that you want to craft a lot is harmony and aptitude, because you will always have enough virtue, you don't use as much of it, and you don't really use the rest of this. So these are the two things that you want to craft a lot, and you want to craft a small amount of this one, because this is what you use to level up your items, and you would need to use these epic Slormancer fragments for this one, and the limiting factor will be your normal Slormancer for this and this crafting. And you will always get like a 1000 of this and 1000 of this. I will show you later. So as you can see now it's 13. And for the next craft, we go again and let's put in, as you can see, 260, and it's again 100% chance to succeed, and we reach the desired level 15 that we want to have. So now we have this item, and also worth noting that this item now costs a lot of money, as you can see, and we maybe spent 2 million gold on this. And this isn't an exploit, because you are actually using valuable materials. So you use hundreds upon hundreds of harmony for this, and you use your actual stuff to craft this. But instead of gold farming, as you can see, this is a much faster way to make gold for yourself, because what I will do is just go here, sell it, and now I will have gold to craft again. So I will never go for a gold farming build, because it's simply not worth it, as you can clearly see. Okay. So for crafting, the last thing that I want to show you is you want to go here and occasionally just go here max and see that I have less of this, and you want this to be at balance roughly. So now I will craft the maximum amount from this one, and every like 1 hour or so after farming you go here and craft one of these to the maximum and then craft the other one, and you would use these by the ton and you will almost never use the other ones. So this is what you actually want to craft. The rest are accidentally, you don't need, like you will have 2000 of this, and this will be enough for the rest of your playthrough to craft enough of this. Okay, so this was the crafting and gold farming guide. I want to again show you the filter. Right now what I'm using is a pure stat farming for perfect score only, and oops, this is mishandled, and this is my setup, which means that I'm interested in every pure score item, because I want to make a lot of guides, so I want to get every pure stat perfect score item that I can find. This is the reason why I'm doing it. If you have special thing in mind, then you will, each and every one, you will click the highlight here, highlighted stat here, and you will go here and find out what you want for farming. So let's say that you want to make an elemental damage stacking build, and you will need a lot of flat elemental damage for your build. I will need it for one of mine. So then you highlight this stat, and then your filteratron, if you click this, will show you the perfect highlighted score of those items that you want, and the rest will be disenchanted. So this is how you can specify which items that you want to keep if you are not interested in, as you can see, it has like armor and armor penetration, not necessarily life regen. That's likeliest that I won't use. So this is the bad part of what I'm doing, is that I'm getting items that I probably won't use, but these are also good because I can use them to make lots and lots of money. So they are still not wasted, in my opinion. I suggest always keeping this at around 9 or even 8 if you want, but if you have this at 9, then I think this is the most valuable, because you will keep items such as this one, which will give you, if I will show you again, you go here, you put this item inside, and you extract the Slormite, then you get a level 10 Slormite chunk from it, which is very valuable, so you should do it, in my opinion. Okay, this was the end of crafting. I will now show you what stats do you need to focus on. First, because this is a magic item quantity find build, we want to get as much of this as possible. This isn't the maximum that you can get. The problem with this is that this stat is so rare on the items, because this can only happen on the back, on the base stat, and on the necklace base stat. What this means is that the chance that you find this compared to like evasion is like 50 to 1, the difference between the two. So what I'm suggesting is that before you have this gear that gives you around 150-160%, which is what I have, then you just simply take this imperfect version, where, as you can see, this isn't the maximum amount that it can roll. It can be 22% magic item quantity. But this is good enough that starts your magic find. And if you really, really want to, then eventually you will get 11 magic item quantity on the base stat, and you can recraft your entire set with those as a base stat, and you will have 250% around that part quantity, magic item quantity, so you can get another 100 for this, more or less. And that would be a more efficient farmer. It just, if you do it without first getting this gear, it would take you such an insanely long time that it's simply not worth it. So first get this gear and then farm the perfect gear if you really want to farm the perfect gear. Magic item quantity is again something that we are not focusing on, but we get this much anyway. The rest doesn't matter. We will get life leech from our legendary, so that's not an issue. And mana regen, you need 2 places for extra mana regen. I have it on my helm and on my chest. The reason why you want this much mana regen is because the Judge of Light costs mana per second to upkeep. That's it. For me, around 7 movement speed is what I'm comfortable on. So this is a nice enough movement speed. If this goes any higher, then I'm not really able to handle my character correctly. So I just can't even utilize something that goes with like 12 movement speed or something like that, because you would just hit the wall again and again. And if you are any lower than this, then it just will feel slow. So this 7 is, I think, the Goldilocks zone that I want to be on my builds. On attack and cooldown speed, I still don't know the relationship exactly, how much cooldown reduction I need for how much attack speed. This feels nice to me, and I can only go by feeling. So it's simply, this is good enough as a feel for me. It's around 3 to 4 attacks per second in my estimation, which is what the Ace should get me, so that's good enough. And for crit chance, this is only 98. It shows 198, but that's from an attribute that is only for 1 hit. But 98% is already good enough. You don't need this at 100%, because that means you don't utilize your lucky crit chance. Ancestral Strike 93% is again good enough, and this 208% comes from the ultimatum, and you can spare a lot of gear slots with this, because this is effectively 130% increase for your base crit damage. And that would be 2.5 pure stat that you need to spend on this to have this higher than this ultimatum. So that's a lot of stat that you need to put in to overlap this flawless power, and I think it's worth using this one instead. Ancestral strike damage is nice at 600, it feels good for me, and you want 100% armor penetration. The easiest way to do it is to have one of your gear to have a pure slot armor penetration on, and you are already there. You need one epic slot and you are done. Okay, a quick thing about resistances, because that came up in conversation before. Elemental resistance, what it does is lowers the incoming elemental damage. And what other resistances do is a specific element, like light element, will do this much less damage with this is a multiplier for your elemental resistance. So if you have 10,000 of this, if I have 175%, then it would be 2700,000 elemental resist for light damage. So you will take less light damage, but even more importantly, you will have at least, as you can see, minus 75% chance because I'm over 100%. So no chance to take light damage negative effects. And this is very valuable because if you can get this on, for example, shadow to 100, then that means you won't never get in your other builds the negative shadow effect, which you really want to avoid. We have evasion to 80 something percent. This is a very feel good number. It just feels nice. So it's good to have it at this percent, but this would make us immortal anyway. So you can have this at around 50 and it would still be doing just fine. I think at 70k it's good. And the 3 stat that you really want to focus on is to always have it 100% at pierce and rebound and 50% fork, because we get another 50 for our arrow shot, and this would have 100 everything. And you can make this cheaper with this legendary effect. And you also want to get projectile speed as much as you can. Not only this is a damage multiplier for you, but this makes your arrows faster, so you will be able to off-screen everything that you find. This is why I never see any enemies. So these are the stats that you want to focus on, and now I will explain the build again that I already did in the first video. So if you already know how the build works, I will link the build guide in the description so you can see my exact build that I'm right now using. This will just copy pasted out from the save file. You want to use the Primordial Arrow of the Rising Sun for this one. Reason for this is because it has 2 things that you care about. Or no, it has 3 things that you care about exactly. First, whenever you lifesteal, you will convert it to shield instead of life. And secondly, you have maximum life 1, which is an advantage for you. This is what you want. And thirdly, your shield globe value is increased by your elemental damage, 25% of this. These are all very good things to have, and we build around these. For runes, we are using the best rune that you can on any build. If you are not using your rune, especially for attacking, for example, with this totem or with the cannon. So if you are not doing like Thornbite for the shield, so if you are not doing this, then I suggest whenever you can to use this retaliating foresight, because this stacks up 10 times on you, and every time a negative effect should be applied, this will negate it. So even if something by some miracle manages to hit me with, let's say, a fire effect, this will negate the fire effect. So I never have any debuff on me because of this one. And we spend our mana to activate it, and we make it a bit cheaper. That's it. Okay, so the way how this build works is with lifesteal, we get loads of shield to 1 million. And with this legendary ring effect, we get a third of it as an additional damage. So as you can see, the more shield we have, the more damage we do. The more damage we do, the more lifesteal we do, and the more shield we get. So this is self-perpetuating, and the soft limit of shield is around 1 million. After that, the degen of the shield is so high that you will always go back to just under 1 million. This boot effect is part of our defense, and combined with our belt means that we can never die. Reason being that since we are always at 1 health, as you can see, this will be always equal 30% of our light shield. But the light shield is not a fixed value, it's a dynamic value, so that means if something hit us and we only have 1000 shield left, then the next hit that will hit us can only do 30% of that. So as long as you have any amount of shield, even if you just have 3 shield, then they still cannot kill you because they can only do the third of that as damage to you. So we increase this by turning it into a damage over time, because this means that 30% maximum that can hit you will turn, because our max life is 1, every damage that we get will be higher than 2.5% of our max life. Every hit that we get is a 10-second dot instead. So every hit that we get at max will be a 3% shield decrease on us for 10 seconds. And if we have high enough damage, we have damage in the billions literally, then this will be negated by our life leech. So we don't get hit ever, pretty much because of the damage output and because of the evasion, but even if we get hit, we can tank more than 100 hits, 200, something like that, and we would never even feel it because our regeneration and life leech is so high that we simply wouldn't notice it. And to accompany this, there is this absolutely broken legendary that gives you avoidance stack, and this evasion is stacking on your right now actual evasion. So because we have it at 80%, if we have 20 stacks of it, and it can go up to 100, we would already have 100% chance to dodge on max breath level. And to get it to 20, we need to do 4 Ancestral Strike damage, which we do around 20 with a single shot, or maybe 30. So this takes around 0.2 seconds to charge back to maximum, and the mobs have around 0.2 seconds to actually hit us again and have a chance to actually do damage to us. If by some miracle something manages to kill you, this is a cheat death effect that can activate every 1 minute and you survive. This literally never activated for me ever, so you can replace this if you want, but there is nothing better on this place that you can do, so I suggest just simply using this one. This is a boot effect that we can graft, as you can see with the Nether grafts. You can graft it on your chest or on your necklace and use this to get loads and loads of extra elemental damage. While running maps, we are picking up around 100 shield orbs, and that would mean that we get 5000 elemental damage from this. 5000 elemental damage from this one means that this effect from the Reaper will get around another 1000 increase for the shield globe value. And because we have that, even if we don't pick up, we get the value from it. This means that every single hit that we do, we'll put down a globe that if we don't pick up, will heal us up to like 300-400 shield, and that's it. That means our shield globe shield increase is so high that even on maps that we have 100% life leech minus and 0 regen, we don't notice it because this can keep it our shield at 1 million. This again decreases the amount of stats that you put out, so this is a very nice legendary this is a cape effect that you can put on your neck instead. And Drunken Master is always strictly better than the Ethereal Sharders, I think it's called. It's a Sharder that would give you 8 extra projectile, but the problem with that is that the projectile always shoot in one direction. And the Drunken Master is way better because, as you can see, without aiming anywhere, you cover the entire screen, and this is what you want to do. This legendary bracelet effect, I think, is a must-have on any build that you want to farm actual things with, because this increases your Slormine and Goldus collection radius to the entire screen. Normally it's around this big around your character, and this will be the entire screen instead of just the third of it. So this is a huge thing to have. I think every character should have this. And this is Leech. And this movement speed, you have to remember that unlike the percentages, these percentages can only go to 100. So these are additive to your stats. So this is 25 pierce chance, 25 fork chance, 25 rebound chance. This isn't. This is multiplicative with your movement speed. So this means if I roll it correctly, which I will soon do, this is 30% movement speed multiplier for your movement speed, not an additive effect. So this is super good. Let's go through the stats. This is 10% crit chance, and this is 5% ancestral strike chance, which is good. And this is a bit of extra crit damage that you almost never use, but whatever. And you want to increase your movement speed as much as you can here. And you get also influence gain and Slorm find, gold find, magic quality. So you will get nice things out from this. This is good to have. And you get a bit of attack speed from here and projectile speed that you again always need. So these are really nice stats to have. For your Ancestral Legacy, this is the setup that you want. You need the Judge of Light, and you want to have the light imbued for your skills. And as the extra one, you always want this Shield Globe collection. I suggest that you never put any point into Flashing Dart, so even by accident you cannot activate it. Because if you activate it, I will show you. As you can see now, I have 0 mana regen and my mana is decreasing because Judge of Light costs mana per second. So just simply don't have it, because this is a bad thing to have. I suggest that you put around a third of this, even on places where you don't, even on points that you don't use, because it will give you extra elemental damage. And the first 3000 is relatively cheap to get. The last 1000 costs way too much Slorm and time and effort, so just don't bother with it. Okay, let's check the skills. For the first skill, we are using Arrow Shot. This is the ability that we deliver the damage with, and this is the best ability pretty much in the game to do so. This gives us extra 50% fork chance, good. This makes it that the fork will do 5 arrow instead, which is insane. And this doesn't really matter which one you choose, because you already have way too much damage, so this extra damage doesn't really matter. But you have way too much defense, so this extra evasion doesn't matter either. These are both very good multipliers, so these are very good thing to have. It's just that you have so much each of them, so I suggest the damage, but you can use whichever you feel like it. Obviously, use the multiplier from the projectile speed and get the extra fork arrow from the last one. For your second ability, if you want to min-max, use Immortal Arrow, simply because Wandering Arrow gives a debuff, and debuff with your Judge of Light give you extra damage. That's it. But you can use it, and I'm using it right now to level up all my other abilities. So the way I am running the maps is I will put other skills that I don't ever use on my secondary, and eventually this will level up to the maximum, and I would be able to do builds with those as well without bothering to level them. For the sharpshooter specialty, you want to put in the speed from movement speed from here. You want to get the extra damage from this one. These two doesn't matter, you never use these. And then you get the 10% critical chance. And here you can choose between projectile speed and ancestral strike damage. I suggest the projectile speed, but you can use whichever you feel like it. Test it. If it feels better for you with the extra damage, then you do use that one. I think the projectile speed is strictly better, but it's up to you. Arrow shot will now deflect some projectiles that go for you. It's nice to have, but it's not really consequential. And this is very good for gearing, because crit chance lucky means that you only need around 70 something, 75% crit that you get by almost default, and you will have like a 98% chance to hit the enemies like I do. So this is the skill setup, and I think I went through everything that you need to know about this build. If you have another question, feel free to ask, but again, this is what I'm using for farming. I'm using this for nether farming strictly, because I use my auto bomber for my temple farming, and I use my frostbolt mage for forge farming, and this is the setup that I do. Take care, bye.